Welcome back to the channel. Like, subscribe, somewhere on your screen. Thanks for coming back. See what's going on. It's been a little bit more than a week. Wasn't the intent. Just kind of how it happened. Still working on doing the developing of things. So, anyways, beautiful cloudy day here today. Otherwise, would be watching the sun come up over there on the hills and enjoying the morning calm. Today, gonna try and tie these two together because I feel that they actually kind of go together. A lot of it will actually end up tying together in the long run of things, but it's like support systems and kind of like our roles that we play throughout life, because today's reading was about the various roles that they were more specific about kids, and as far as where they fit into the families and what roles they played and how it can affect them, as far as internalizing or their internal feelings and thoughts. So, but reading it and kind of reflecting on it, it's not specific to kids. It's everybody, every day in life, and the roles can change. I mean, from whatever circle, sphere of influence that you are with, will have an effect on those roles that you play. So, it's a little still rough. I'm working on it. We're still holding the phone. We're supposed to get our goods tomorrow, so the videos will become a bit more, at least steady, and not as shaky and moving. So the reading comes from 365, and they talked about, they give examples of 4 very specific roles. Then they talk about 2 other ones that can also happen, but then there's also one that, the support, being there for other people, but so you have like the hero, the mascot, the lost one, they call it lost child, but lost one, and the scapegoat. And then also, you have the victims or the martyrs. For the heroes, this is where you try to be perfect, you are perfect rather. You're the first one to accomplish something. You are there. You can do no wrong. You are just, the responsible, trustworthy, the one that makes everything look good. But on the inside, you may be afraid of failure. You may feel inadequate, and it actually ties into some of the readings from this past week about what are our core beliefs about ourselves, and in the book, they call it a primal law, as far as what you feel about yourself and how you see yourself. The mascot is, like a class clown, someone who lightens the mood, someone who, they call it, attention seekers. They're funny, they're lovable, but at the same time, they're immature and needy. But on the inside, they may be feeling left out, lonely or insecure. Then you have the lost one, is the one who just stays out of the way. You're by yourself a lot, or you are independent and agreeable, and lost as far as like invisible. Usually non-confrontational. May not feel needed or wanted, confused or even scared is what they talked about. And then the scapegoat, is the troublemaker, the one who catches the blame, just like the name says. They're rebellious, they're rude, but on the inside, they might feel just misunderstood or betrayed or rejected. And then you have the victim and martyr, the ones that kind of just fit that definition. Sorry, getting the bookmark back in here. But then you also have the one that wasn't in there. It's like, the support role as well for friends, family, and, you never know when you're going to need them. You never know when you're going to need someone to help offer a different perspective on whatever situation you're going through, It could be a transition. Like we've talked about transitions, and transitions aren't always major, big, giant things like moves or retirements or, job changes. It could just be anything, because everything is a transition. We're always changing, and if you're not changing, then you're not growing. If you aren't trying to get better, if you aren't improving your foxhole, and the biggest, and I, kind of recently realized, the most important foxhole is the one that we wear on us. That's where we spend all of our time. Is inside. You can be these roles all within one day. Depends on, like I said, who you're with, kind of the environment you're in. You never know. Someone may look at you as a hero. Someone may look at you as the cause of issues, being the scapegoat. Just really depends, I guess, on perspective, people's perspective. Because everybody has a different perspective. Everybody sees things differently, different colors, different hues, different experiences. And that's part of, I think, what makes all of us that is what makes us all unique, for sure. But that's where we can continue to grow, when we are able to draw from those experiences of other people and share our experiences with people. And it's not always easy to share, especially when you're facing major transitions and you don't quite know where to go, where you fit, how you fit. And, for me personally, the last 14 months, 16 months, depending on if, you count transition leave or not, for me, that's been, one of my struggles is what's next. After 21 plus years of knowing that I only had to meet 3 things: right place, right time, right uniform, I no longer have necessarily a right place, right time every day. And the uniform, as long as I'm dressed, right? That's what society says. You have to go outside with pants on. So it's life, the support system is there. I have a great support system with my wife. She offers me different perspectives that I had never thought of before. And we actually had a conversation this past week of how the military and the relationship that kind of played for me, potentially. And it's definitely eye-opening. Definitely was really eye-opening overall, and allowed for a slightly deeper perspective of why I felt the way I felt, especially there at the end, especially even after I had retired. Definitely was not a pleasant person to be around when things were not going the way that I had expected them to, or when potentially shortcuts were taken. And, it's just kind of not a good place to be. And it wasn't that it was just me, it was those that were within my sphere, those that were around, and not even the ones that were directly under my charge, but just the ones that I interacted with. And that's why they call it your sphere of influence, because you have an influence of all those around you every day. You walk out the door, and you walk into a room where there's people. That's your sphere of influence, it's just kind of how you impact those around you. So, and I reached out to a few and was like, hey, sorry. And it's not that, I'm diminishing it. I take ownership of it and responsibility for it, for sure, because it was me, But, it goes back to the one quote about being humble and being willing to make the changes, because, if you keep doing the same things and you keep getting the same results, but you expect change, it's not going to happen. So you have to make the changes. You have to be receptive to it. You feel on the inside like you're not good enough, then you have to get better. And that's kind of where I felt, for many years. And even, what I still deal with now, there are times where I do feel inadequate, that I don't feel like I was prepared enough. And then I question myself of, was I prepared enough? What could I have done better? And I start to really dwell on it. And, that was a couple nights, had some really deep thoughts and ruminating thoughts about that, of what could I have done better? Why did this happen? Did I train enough? Did I do the best that I could? Thoughts are okay. Feelings are okay. It gets hard when they start to, for me anyways, when they feel very overpowering like that, because there is that self-doubt that starts to come up, and having those support systems, having those roles, because that's where a mascot can, come into play and help lighten the mood and make things not seem as heavy. I don't want to say the hero factor of looking at it and saying, oh, well, they did this perfectly. And, outwardly it may have, and you may be able to draw from that experience. You may be able to draw from that event or thought process, because they may do that very well. Everybody plays a role in someone else's life. And it's what role do you want it to be, and how do you feel about yourself? I'm learning quite a bit about myself. Some good, some not so good. Some things I like, some things I don't like. But that's part of the transitional phase, right? It's part of improving the foxhole, learning, growing, and, all the phrases out there of the mindfulness, the living your best life, the things like that. But I mean, it's all very, very true. You have to be willing to grow. You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to play a role. You get to define your role, though. You get to say, I did the best I could, or I could have improved, or I still can improve. I'm trying to improve every day. Every day, a little bit better than before. Every day, slightly different and better thought process. I'm not where I was a year ago, and that's good. I'm not going to be here a year from now, and that's good too. It's constantly getting better, making those improvements, even if it's just one little thing at a time. Stuff that used to get me fired up 2 years ago, 5 years ago. They might still get under my skin a little bit, but they don't get me as aggravated, as frustrated, as upset. I mean, we all will have our days, don't get me wrong, because everybody does. But it's knowing those events, learning about yourself, being able to understand what role you're playing with people, not with people, but in their lives. That's the important factor. And what you feel about yourself. Huge of what you feel about yourself. Because it does impact those around you. I talk about my support structure, with having my wife to talk to, having family to talk to. There are friends that I can talk to. I talk with a person at the VA as well. That all this is there. I know there are all these resources out there. If I have like an event that feels very overpowering, I know there are resources that I can reach out to. And I acknowledge that I can reach out to any number of people, but also I am there for people as well. I'm there for my wife. I'm there for my family and my friends. It is definitely reciprocal. I may not understand. I may ask questions so I can get a better understanding. But being there, being present, it's huge. Understanding is huge. You just have to remember that we all play a part in other people's lives. We have that sphere of influence around us. We have those roles around us, within us as well. Because all those roles you can feel, in here, right there. You feel it. Some days you feel like the hero. Other days you feel like the scapegoat. Some days you may feel like a martyr. Keep improving. Keep living your best life that you can. That's all that we can do. Talk with the kids, and all we can do is try. We can do better tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. All we can do is continue to try to be better. So, feel like this one was a bit disjointed, but getting there, trying to get better at this. So, see you next week, and don't forget, again, click like, subscribe somewhere on your page, app, whatever it is, and do your PCCs, PCIs, and always improve your foxhole. Drink water, change your socks, do PT. See you next time.